Welcome back to Builds Not Projects. This week we're working on the Trike. I would show you the area that we're going to be working on the front, but can't do that because we may have forgot to film an intro, and we're filming this after we did all the work a couple weeks later. So stay tuned. It's going to be awesome. You're going to enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Well, we may have gotten a little bit carried away with covering all this up, so the whole thing's covered now. It should look pretty sweet when it's done. So we'll go ahead and get those traced out on the aluminum sheet that we cut out of the snowmobile tunnel, and then we can start cutting those out. And what we'll do is we'll end up just building some little tabs in there to mount them to, so we'll start cutting. Decided to use the wood stove as the saw bench for this one because it's like 15 degrees outside and windy, so it's nice and cold in here. So closer to the fire we can get, the better. So all these tabs are done, but I realized they looked like a bunch of metal Scrabble tokens, so we're gonna go play some Scrabble. It's a paddle. So these little tabs or Scrabble tokens that I just made are gonna be holding all of the coverings on for the tank covers and everything, so then that way we can have a way to mount these things. So they'll be getting tacked on. They'll be holding it up from the back side. They won't be on the top, don't worry, it's not gonna look stupid. So these will get put on, and then these will get riveted on later on. So we're gonna go ahead and get these all tacked on. That way we can finish shaping these pieces to fit the tabs. This is kind of sad that after I made this piece I get to cut a hole in it with a like $3 hole saw from Harbor Freight that's probably not going to do very good, but we'll see what happens. So here goes nothing. We've got the hole drilled, nothing to worry about there. Hole saw worked great, even though it looked a little sketchy. I wasn't quite sure. Now we can keep on trying to mount this Speedo, but first I'm gonna have to put the triple clamp fork setup back on, so that way I can make sure that the Speedo cable that comes off the front tire is gonna be able to reach and mount and everything. I think I'm gonna have to probably move this gauge forward and maybe down just a little bit to get it to line up right, but we'll get her to fit eventually. I'm going to be building a mount for the speedometer that's going to have to mount up in here somewhere, like so. But I'm going to use this steel exhaust tubing, and then I'm going to just shape this hole to fit the tubing exactly where I want it. And then the tubing is going to get mounted underneath, so then this piece will just kind of slide over the top of it like the gas tank one, and then that way it'll just be shaped around. I don't have to try to build it out of aluminum because I don't have any like nice round aluminum, so I'd be like trying to bend it and then trying to weld it on here. I think I'll get a way cleaner look, and it'll be a little bit quicker, I think, to do it this way. So alright, well, that worked out pretty good. Just used a piece of 3-inch exhaust tube, sliced it down the middle, chopped a little bit off the side to clear for the adjustment screw, and then just welded it to the 3 tabs on the inside. The gauge slides back in and all the cabling hooks up nicely, so just barely enough room in there with the tank, but it should work. So tomorrow we'll work on getting the tack mounted and probably get the exhaust temp gauge mounted, and then kind of go from there. The gauges are all mounted in here now, so these two just had to drill a couple holes. They're not actually like mounted in there solid yet, so this one doesn't sit in there very good because of the wires on the back. It hits the gas tank, but it does mount in there all the way. We'll have to put the hold downs on the back of them to hold them in. That's not a big deal, but we're gonna add in another light. I forgot to grab one today, so I'm gonna have to grab one of those for a coolant, just for a coolant switch, so it turns on if it gets too hot. And that way, maybe between the exhaust temp gauge and a idiot light, maybe we won't burn the thing up. So that's a plus. And then we're gonna go ahead and finish building these side panels now. I wanted to take a break. I was kind of tired of grinding on aluminum panels, so we'll get those done now, and then so the side panels are all nice and done now. They're all going to be riveted on later on, but that doesn't matter for now. But all the gauges are in there. It looks pretty awesome. Added the little red light there for temperature. I can just run the coolant temp sensor, or just a switch, coolant temp switch, to that, and that way maybe we won't overheat it. So that's awesome. A lot of work went into this video. Took way longer than I thought it was going to get this done. It was a couple weeks, that's why we didn't have a video last week. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and stay tuned for next week where more awesome things are going to happen.